It's random black girl.
You're taking a picture up there?
No, I'm making a video for the internet. If God says no, I ain't posting it. This is Mz Judz. She's like a mommy to me, and today she's gonna be teaching me how to make bread, homemade bread, and also she's gonna be answering some questions that I have. You guys submitted some questions too. She's gonna be answering all that for us. So let's just start with the ingredients. What do we have here?
Okay, so this is my simple homemade bread recipe that I experimented first with Chef Lola's bread recipe, and then I just kept adapting it and making it mine, so it's going to be different. It's basically 5 ingredients. So we have flour, sugar, melted butter, yeast, and 1 cup of milk, and we're going to mix that with 1 cup of hot water, so it will give us 2 cups. My family likes it a bit sweet, so I'm using 1/2 cup of granulated sugar. You can use 1/4 if you're not a sweet tooth like my family. But I'm going to activate the yeast by adding 1/2 teaspoon of sugar into the yeast, and then I'm going to add 1 cup room temperature water. I'm going to put a bit of hot water just to wake up the yeast and the sugar, and we're going to set it aside for 10 minutes. About 10 minutes will be good enough. So while we're waiting, we can just add the sugar to the flour mix. So like I said, 1/2 cup of sugar. I'm not going to put the butter in yet because I like it to go about the same time as the yeast and that. So essentially we just wait.
Today we're talking about relationships, and the first question for me was, what advice do you have for any kids that would like to, maybe be more open about like where their life is at with their parents, but they're having trouble doing so?
Okay, so I know you think I'm ancient, but I'm not that old. But in my day, we couldn't talk to our parents about the subject like that. So it's possible that some of the parents today are in the place where we were. Like, I can't talk to my children about that. But it's important that we know that the age we're in, the more open we are with our children, the better off we're all going to be. So they're going to be getting valid advice, and we're going to know where their headspace is. So I'm one for just broaching the subject. If most households are like mine, I think it's easier to talk to your mothers, and they will have a way of kind of bringing the subject in an appropriate manner. Some families are different, so if the dad is the easier one, talk to the dad. I would just say break it in gradually, but you need to have this conversation, especially with all the challenges we're going through. You need to know why. What do you want in a relationship? You need to find out from your mother. What was her priority? Did it work out for her? If it didn't, what do you need to do differently? Those kind of questions.
As a parent, right, how do you navigate the line between having open communication with your child and it being like, okay, you're being too friendly or friends? Now there's no more like parent-child relationship, it's like friends. So how do you navigate that line between making them feel welcome, like maybe like your parents and our grandparents did not, but at the same time still keeping that respect and that boundary as parent-child?
I think what is probably most important is that after your children, so when I was small, my children would tell you, boy, I was a smacking mother. Before they were 3, I smacked their butts all the time. But when they get to like 3, 4 and they can understand, there's no need to punish a child, so you start having conversations. So you bring it to their level, and you establish that it's important that we establish that it's important to tell us the truth, and we said everything. So once Yoma did something and he said the truth and Daddy smacked him and he said, but you said we should tell the truth. And like Daddy says, if you tell the truth doesn't mean you will not be punished, but you will have to tell the truth anyway. So when you've established that kind of communication with your children, it gets to a point where I think mine was still, I don't know if they told me everything, but I was definitely available. So when they were ready, they would talk. The boundaries come where you have to be sure that they don't disrespect you. We are friends, but respect is primary. So I would not be friend to my children to the extent that I allow them to get away with foolishness. Right? And I think that's where the friends, so that's the timer for the yeast. Just turn it off, or we can continue.
Like that.
Yes. Right? So we'll be friends. We'll talk about everything, but there's a respect boundary that is not crossed. So if you establish that, then the children know. And once in a while, if they cross it, the world doesn't come to an end. You just say,
that's not it.
you went where you shouldn't have gone. Let's have the conversation, right? So it's being open to talk and to remember that because our parents didn't do it, doesn't mean we shouldn't do it. Times have changed. Right? So now the yeast is ready, which is why that timer went off. So this is what the activated yeast looks like. Now everything is going to go in almost at the same time.
There was a question about when looking for a relationship in nowadays, should money or financial status be considered?
Okay, so we know that you can't do anything in life without money. So while that is a consideration, I hope it's not the consideration. It is our consideration. Because what is most important is what the person's character is like. Where do you score in the person's radar? Do they respect you? Do they love God? Do they fear God? Are they the kind of people who will not do anything because they want to be sure? Just washing my hand again because I touched my head. Are they the kind of person you want to be sure will have your back if something goes wrong? If they have money, super. But it's really not money, it's their livelihood. So are they working? What kind of work? What is their opinion about money? Because your mindset about money is probably more important than whether you have it or not. Okay, so it is important because you need to have a livelihood and you want to be sure that both of you have similar views about money. And now we're going to stir gently. And that's just to give this a nice mix. And believe it or not, this is all you really need for the bread. There is no kneading. We're gonna mix it. When it's all nicely mixed, we're gonna let it sit for a bit. And we're gonna keep talking.
Yeah. So the biggest question that I think everybody our age kind of has is like, how do you know that someone is the one? I think that's the question of the millennial. Like, how do you know? How did you know? How
did I know that maybe my husband was right for me?
Yeah.
Or how would a young person know that somebody's right for them? I think it would be a combination of factors. So first, you will know when you're ready. And when you're ready, you're going to begin to look for some qualities in the person that you're interested in. So for me, and I hope this is true for many people, respect is huge. Okay? You want to be sure that the person respects you and respects your values. One place of ensuring that that happens would be if the person respects God, if they have a faith. So I am very big on faith. My entire life revolves around who God has made me to be. So if you're a Christian, for example, it would make sense that the person you are interested in also shares your faith, because you want to be sure that conflicts will not arise from that source. And then you also want to be sure that your likes are similar. Right? So you like the same things or similar things, or you can share interests. You also want to be sure that the person has respect for family, so like values. So if I love family, my husband loves family, we know we're going to be good. But if somebody likes family and the other person doesn't, you know already that what you're going to start your relationship on potential conflicts, and that cannot work. So respect for God, that you like the same things, respect for each other, and that your life's goals mesh so you can see where things will work. You also want to be sure that the person is ready. I think some endless relationships just kind of make me angry, because it's like, if the person is ready and you're ready, why not? But if you're ready and they're not, and 4 or 5 years later they are not, I'll be asking questions.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is their view of life and family? Okay, so we have a really good wet dough mix here. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to just let this sit for maybe 5-6 minutes to give the gluten a bit more time to work itself into the dough. and then we'll come back after about 5 minutes to stir it one more time. So 5 minutes later, if you see it's actually risen a bit already, and if you see it's already kind of
so that's what we want.
Yes, I'm just going to give it another very brief mix. You really should give it anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes, but I realized because I activate the yeast and I use warm milk, it will probably be ready in 30 minutes.
Because when you say likes, the similar likes, do you mean like pastimes, or do you mean like I don't know, future wise?
It will probably be both. So for example, you love home cooked food. Does he like home cooked food? You like being with your family. Does he like being with his family, or does he like being with your family? Does he like just people generally? And then hobbies. What kind of sports does he like? Is that a pastime that you want to be able to share?
Because like a lot of like the sports and a lot of video gaming, that's hard for a lot of girls to relate to. Like, so it's like, you know, that like your husband, man, I don't know, boyfriend or whatever you are at the time, he will be consumed or be distracted doing something else, and it's like,
okay, I think in that case you have to negotiate. So when my husband and I were dating, he loves football. Jeez. He would even watch a game when he doesn't even know the people who are playing. You know, he's that crazy about football. I do like the way the balls are passing, but his excitement and like literally I'm like, okay, he likes this. I give him that. I love to play Scrabble. He also loves Scrabble. I like to sing. He likes to encourage me to sing. Right? So which is kind of till today he loves soccer. I would watch it, but not, you know,
the way he does.
However, if he gets to the point where he's choosing soccer over a relationship, we will have a conversation. Okay, so if there's something important that both of you are supposed to do and a football game comes instead, I would worry. However, if I know that he loves football, then I plan around that so that I don't deprive him of what he likes. Because you really want your partner to be as happy as you are in the relationship. Two happy people produce an amazing relationship. If one person always feels like they have to give up what they like for the other, after a while you're going to resent the person, and relationships can survive on those. So talk about what is it that you like, what can you give up for this, what. So if you're making plans, be sure that you don't conflict with their interest, and be sure that he does the same for you. It's not a one-way street.
100%, yeah.
Everybody's happiness is far more important than just my happiness. What are you willing to give up? So find what is negotiable, but be sure you don't lose the core of who you are. I thought my world has come to an end. Have I gotten to a point where I don't know what I want to do now? And he just said it so casually, like, I don't know. Like, I thought, I am done. How did I get in here? I cried. I really did. Then the man is the head, the woman is the neck. The head cannot function independent of the neck. Have you ever woken up sometimes with a stiff neck? You say, how?
You know, like this.
That is how your marriage will be if you don't want to submit. If he's a good man, he's going to value you like a rare gem because he knows that he's secure in your love and you don't have to compete.